It didn't have a cell back then. It was living room. In my job, I interviewed over 800 men and 25 women convicted of awful things, stuff from the...
So I'm just testing to see if this is recording. This is a test. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now, AMC presents the World Series.
All right. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much for meeting me. I really appreciate it.
Sure, no problem.
Good. Okay, so I just wanted to ask you, just like a preliminary interview, just like get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
So I'm just going to be asking some general questions about, like, your background and your upbringing and, of course, your veganism and you parenting as a vegan.
Okay, great.
Okay. So where are you from originally?
I'm from Garden Grove, California, which is in Orange County.
Okay, and you've always lived in California?
Yes, I have.
All right. And were your parents vegan? Were you raised vegan or vegetarian?
No, not at all. Actually, I decided to become vegetarian when I was 9 years old.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and my mom she was supportive, surprisingly. The rest of my family wasn't, but my mom was on board, so that was a blessing.
Yeah, so what made you decide at 9 to become a vegan?
Well, I had a friend who was a vegetarian, and at the time, like, I knew that what vegetarians was, and I knew that they existed, but I remember one time she came to school and she offered me a piece of her veggie burger that her mom had made, and she was a vegetarian because she was Buddhist, and her kind of Buddhism, she was a vegetarian, so I tasted a piece of her veggie burger, and it was good, and I started thinking, like, why don't Buddhists eat meat? Like, what is so wrong with it? And then I started to think about where they come from, and I started to feel really bad, about eating meat, especially because at the time my favorite food was fried chicken, and I had a bird at home that I loved dearly, and I just put the two together, and I told my mom I wanted to stop eating meat, and she was okay with it. She was on board with it. And it's funny because a couple of years ago she told me she thought it was a phase.
There's a long phase, right?
20 years later she told me she thought it was a phase.
That's funny. So what kind of bird did you have as a child?
I had a cockatiel. It's those ones with the orange cheeks, and they have the little feathers that stick up at the top of their head.
And what was its name?
DW.
EW, like E as in Edward, W?
No, D as in dog, DW.
Oh, okay. D as in DW. Okay. So this was your pet, essentially?
He was my pet, yeah. And and I noticed that, this bird was it had feelings. It felt love. It had the ability to love and everything. And I saw this because we actually found another bird that was the same kind of bird, and I just saw their interaction, and I knew that they felt emotions, and I knew that he felt like an emotional attachment to us. When we walked in the house, he got really excited, started singing and dancing, and there was no doubt that there was some. There was a lot of similarities in their feelings and ours as humans. So,
right. So your friend who gave you the veggie burger, who was Buddhist, was she African American?
No, actually, she's Vietnamese.
Vietnamese. Okay. All right. So did you ask her about her Buddhism and not eating meat, or you just kind of came up decided some things on your own?
Well, I did ask her, you're vegetarian, why? And she said because she's Buddhist. But I didn't dig too deep into the religion. Like, we were 9 at the time, so
right,
there was only so far that my understanding was going to go, and I was raised Baptist, so yeah, it wasn't. I didn't see it as a religious thing. I kind of just saw it as a right and wrong type of thing.
Right and wrong. Mm-hmm. So how did your so you said your mother was very supportive. So what did she do differently? Did she cook you different meals, or how did that work out in your household?
Yeah, she did. Actually, she just made, like, a lot more side dishes. And it was funny at the time because I think a lot of times, I don't know if it's just African-American culture or if it's just American culture, sometimes when they hear that you don't eat meat, and then they think you still eat fish. So at that time, my mom was cooking me fish. And when and at the time, I didn't understand it either until I went fishing. And at that point, I stopped eating fish as well. But aside from that, she was really supportive, and there was no time where I did have other people in my family telling me that it was stupid and I was going to get sick and do I think I'm white and stuff like that. But it really didn't affect me because I felt in my heart what I was doing was right. And also my mom was supportive of it, so she made veggie burgers that she got from the store. She discovered food that was like meat replacement. She discovered it in the store, and she was happy to find it, more stuff to feed me. And I never was hungry. I never went hungry.
That's good. That's a good thing. Yeah. So did she start eating vegetarian or vegan as well?
No, she never has. Yeah, she never has. It's very interesting that because it's very interesting to me that she was supportive of it, and she wasn't. Yeah. She didn't really question my intentions of it either. And I do think that a part of her kind of wishes that she could do it, but she just hasn't. And she wouldn't admit to me that, she wants to stop eating meat because she's not going to.
Right.
I always hear that, whenever I tell people that I don't eat meat, they're like, oh, well, I could never do that, or I would never do that. I didn't ask you to do that. But, she hasn't, and she never, let her tell it she never will. A lot of people see it as an extreme diet or something that's so far out, which is odd to me. I don't see it as so far out or so different.
It is because I think I told most people that I'm not vegan, but it's always weird to me when I hear someone tell someone, "Oh, I'm vegetarian or vegan," and the next question is, "Well, what do you eat?" And I'm thinking, well, when you go to the grocery store, the meat section is only a small portion of the grocery store when you physically look at it. So everything else you can eat,
Yeah, everything else. And, of course, a lot of scanning of the labels. I've become an expert at scanning labels. It's crazy.
So
a lot of people don't even look at the ingredients, but I'm not that fast of a reader, but I can scan a label so quick.
Right, because so is it that some things are labeled vegan or labeled vegetarian but aren't? Is that why you scan, or you just?
Well, I don't look for a label that's vegan or vegetarian. I wish it were that simple, but a lot of times you might get something and you think it's okay, but you look in the ingredients and it has chicken fat in it or beef fat, and you're like, what? Why? But you definitely have to look at the labels a lot because they sneak animal products in a lot of foods, and it's for whatever reason. Maybe it's get the flavor they need it to be, and of course most of the population does eat meat, so if you don't eat meat, scanning labels is something that is a must.
It's essential, right? So, how old were you when you stopped eating fish?
I was 15.
Okay. So up until that point, you were eating fish. So can you tell me about that experience? You talked about going fishing, and that changed that shut down the fish for you. Can you talk about that?
Okay, so I guess even though I had stopped eating what a lot of people consider meat, I was conscious of what I wasn't eating and what those animals were going through. I really didn't think of fish as sentient beings at the time, but when I went fishing, I was so happy I caught a fish, and then my stepdad put it on the table, and I looked at this fish that I caught. I pulled out of the water, and it was gasping and struggling to live, and it looked like really scared, and then I was looking at this thing so shocked, like, oh, what the hell did I do? And then my stepdad came and bashed it in the head so it stopped moving. I said, oh, no, that's it for me. I can't do this anymore. Yeah, at that point I understood that it was the same thing.
Right. So essentially that was the last time you had any kind of animal product.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So are you an only child, or do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a brother.
So what was his reaction to you deciding to not eat meat and then eventually deciding not to eat fish?
He thought it was funny, thought it was weird. He still thinks it's funny and weird. He still makes jokes. Actually I do credit him partly for me being able to not to stay away from animal products, because he would always wave meat in my face, and it would really piss me off. So I'd always just smack it away because he was teasing me, and this continued on for years. And he still kind of does it, but that's his reaction. I think he thinks it's kind of funny, kind of weird, but it's from him teasing me that kind of made me more, I guess I would say, angry or maybe disgusted with meat.
Yeah. So when you stopped eating meat and then fish later on, have you ever experienced cravings for animal products, or that just never happened for you?
No, the cravings didn't happen, because I think there comes a point where, for me, I think my empathy won't let me crave it. Yeah, and not only that, they have so many alternatives out there that if I did, which I don't, but if I did want a burger, I guess I could go get a veggie burger. If I did want bacon, I'd go get some, veggie bacon. But I didn't experience the cravings for these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You said the empathy won't interfere with the craving. Well, if you say you didn't have a craving, that's interesting that you mentioned the empathy.
Yeah.
Part, as far as to the craving. Okay. All right. So, and how old are you now?
I'm 31.
31. Okay. And your daughter is 3 years old?
Yes.
Okay. And so during your pregnancy, did people try to tell you need to eat meat?
Well, that wasn't my first pregnancy. I do have a 10-year-old. But I think I don't recall anyone telling me I needed to eat meat when I was pregnant at either time. I've always been a kind of, thick woman, and everyone knows that, I'm never lethargic or sleepy. I'm very sharp, So I think after years and years and years of, me not eating meat, people didn't have anything to say. Everyone was getting sick more frequently than I was, so people didn't tell me specifically that when I was pregnant I needed to eat meat. But I do know that people do have their opinions about what I should feed my children.
Right. Yeah. It seems like particularly when people get pregnant, they get all kinds of unsolicited advice.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So you have a 10-year-old and a 3-year-old?
Yes.
Okay, and they are both vegan?
Well, actually, my son, he's not. He decided to start eating meat, which was really hard on me. It happened when me and his dad split, and of course, his dad's girlfriend, I don't expect him or their family to cook him vegetarian meals, or vegan meals. If you don't know how, and if you don't care, I can't control what goes on over there. And there was a point in time, there was a couple of years where he did, just turn away meat and say, I'm a vegetarian, I don't want to do that. But I think just the influence of everybody that's eating meat, and even his dad wasn't too pressing him too much to eat meat, but my son did tell me that my brother was actually the one that kind of pressured him into eating meat. My brother was watching him a couple of months ago. This was like over last summer, and he said that my brother was my brother's girlfriend works at a pizza place, and my brother ordered a pizza with a bunch of sausage on it and told him, oh, you need to help me finish this, and come on, don't be that way, I won't tell your mom. Of course my son's going to tell me, but I think I figured that the pressure would maybe get to him at one point, but my hope was that he would hold on to what I've taught him growing up, but I knew that the possibility would arise that he would decide to eat meat.
Yeah. So what do you think is the difference between you and your son? Because it sounds like as a kid you were pretty unwavering.
Yeah.
In your conviction.
I think the difference between me and him is that I think I had the support at home. I wasn't in a split home. My dad wasn't around, so I was at my mom's all the time. But I think as far as my son, when he goes to his dad's, I don't know that he has options that are meatless, and that's just the environment he's in right now, where if he goes to birthday parties and they don't have they have hot dogs and burgers, and
that's it.
Yeah, and so I've gotten used to when I take my daughter to a party, make sure I pack something for her just in case, but I can't expect his dad to go through all that,
To do that, right. So is that what your mom did for you when you were a kid? Like pack you different lunches or pack you meals when you would, I guess, almost do sleepovers to go to birthday parties, that type of thing?
No, actually, she didn't go that far. I was more conscious of things when I was out on my own. So I had the school lunches, and if there was meat, I just wouldn't eat the lasagna or whatever. I would just eat the other stuff that was for lunch. Or if I did go to a party and there were hot dogs and stuff, I just would eat chips or something. So
right.
Yeah, that was just kind of on me. I was pretty good about that.
So what about dairy? Were you still eating dairy when you were a kid?
I was.
Okay. So when did you stop eating dairy? What was that turning point?
Well, it's still kind of an on and off thing for me. For me, it's still kind of an on and off thing. Like, I would say that, let me see. I don't. Yeah, that I'm not sure of.
Okay.
Yeah, that I'm not sure.
Okay. So with your so your daughter lives with you full time?
Yeah.
Okay. So with her, and is her dad supportive in her being vegan? Is he vegan?
No, he's not, but he's absolutely supportive. Actually, we've had numerous conversations about this more recently, but yeah, he let me know that he's absolutely supportive of it, and even if, something were to happen to me or we were to split up, he would continue on, with her diet as being a vegan. He said the only thing that would change him is if, she was older, maybe or 7 or 8 and said that she wanted to start eating meat, and then he would respect her, decision. But yeah, he's very.
That's good. So basically, you knew to have that conversation because did you not have that conversation with your father's? Oh, sorry, with your son's father before?
No, I had not had that conversation with my son's father, but I think I don't know. It just happened. It just happened. And I think even ever since I was pregnant, it wasn't that I felt the need to have that conversation, but it just happened, and,
right.
And even more recently, like when she goes to school and if they have a substitute, preschool teacher and they things might go wrong and stuff like that. So I have to be like really on top of people as far as, what they put in front of her.
Right. So do you find her like regular teachers and the administration are supportive?
Well, it depends on the person. I find that, she did her first preschool teacher when she was 2. She was supportive, she was understanding, but I think it's more of the people who don't understand, and then they don't think they think it's weird, or they don't think it's that important or whatever because they don't understand it, so
right.
Yeah, that's where all the trouble comes in, I think, is people have a lack of understanding.
Yeah. Because, I'm wondering, I don't have kids, but, if a child has, types of allergies, or I would think if there were types of religious restrictions, as far as diet goes, then the school would adhere to that. But there doesn't seem to be that when it comes to being a vegetarian or a vegan.
Absolutely not. When I know that I can't bring anything that has peanuts in it. I can't bring because even they don't want it near anyone with the allergy. But when it's something like no animal products, and then so I guess since the child may not have an allergic reaction and be in the hospital, that they don't think it's that important.
Important, right? Yeah, if it's not quote unquote life threatening, but yeah.
Exactly.
So do you do play dates with vegan parents?
I wish I knew some vegan parents. I don't know any vegan parents.
Really?
The area I live in now is it's kind of, I want to say, lower middle class, and I definitely could tell the difference in the stores in the upper middle class areas from the lower middle class, because there are more vegan options in the upper middle class, but that's because there's more people that are more aware, maybe can afford to eat like that. But out here there's I guess if they felt like there was more of a demand for that, if there were more vegans in the area, then they would carry it, but they don't. And I don't know any other vegan parents. I actually don't have any, aside from people from the Cali Vegans of Color group. I don't have any vegan friends.
Oh wow, that's interesting, especially like in LA, because I would think there would be like meetup groups for vegan parents, or I would just think that would be something that existed. But that's interesting that it's not. So what part of town do you live in?
I live in Bellflower.
Okay, yeah. I've been in LA for 5 years, so I'm still kind of learning the area. That's where they had the controversy with the city council, or
that was in Bell.
That was in Bell. Oh, okay. I'm getting my Bells mixed up. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Bellflower is like north of Long Beach.
Okay, all right, okay. And what do you do? I haven't even asked that.
I'm an apartment manager.
Okay, all right, good. So how are your coworkers with your veganism? Are they?
It's I don't know. It's funny. Actually, I had 2 coworkers that were vegetarian, and one of them
okay.
one of them just quit. And it was funny because I was at our main office, and I heard another manager. She's the one who schedules everything at the meetings, and she said, "I'm so glad she quit. Now that's one less vegetarian entree to order at our meetings." And I looked at her like, why does that bother her?
Like it's such a hard thing to do.
Right.
Wow. Because I wonder why people are so, why do you think people are so put out by people who are vegan or vegetarian?
I have no idea. That really perplexes me. I really don't impose my own personal opinions on anybody else's diet, even though I have my own personal feelings about it. I'm not going to go out of my way to express to you, how I feel about it, because I really try not to offend anybody. So I don't understand why people feel like it's okay, or why they even are offended by anything that I don't eat.
Yeah, that you're doing or not doing. Yeah, exactly. It's something. It's interesting, the opposition.
Right.
Yeah, it is. So do you think it's because one of the things I want to talk about in my film is whether it is expensive to be a vegan. And just from what you're talking about, the grocery stores, it seems like it might not necessarily be expensive. It's just a matter of access to vegan options.
Yeah, and like me, I've never been rich. I've never made a lot of money, and I think I don't think it's expensive at all to eat vegan. I always tell people, I was at actually the vegan, the Veg Fest today, and I brought my brother's girlfriend, and she said, I think I would like to go vegan, but it's just so expensive. And I'm thinking, I told her, like, imagine if you stopped buying meat, how much cheaper your grocery bill would be, I think meat's pretty expensive, but not only that, I know that when I go to the grocery store and I'm buying a lot of fruits and vegetables and things like that and putting meals together just out of fruits and vegetables, I find it to be pretty inexpensive. Where it does get expensive is when you're going out of your way to buy meat replacement, so if you're buying like vegetarian chicken to add to your dish that you regularly would put chicken in, or vegetarian ground beef, that stuff is expensive. But I've always been like, I'll just say like not rich, I've never made a lot of money, so it never made sense to me financially to even buy that. I think it's better and it's more nutritional to keep those processed vegetarian alternatives like out of my diet, and probably healthier processed.
Yeah, because I've talked to like a few people about the whole mock meat, fake meat thing, and it seems like a lot of vegans are, at least a few vegans I've spoken to, are against it. One, because it's so highly processed.
Yeah.
And then the second reason someone pointed out is they feel like when you're eating the mock meat and you want, for the texture, you're kind of simulating the eating of the meat, i.e. simulating the oppression.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So those are two. But mostly, the majority saying because it seems like vegans tend to, at least from what I've heard, want to eat pure. So anything that's highly processed, even if it's a vegetable that's highly processed, they're just going to stay away from.
Right.
Yeah. So what kind of, do you describe yourself as a particular vegan? Like, because I know some people are vegan for health reasons, some are for like ethical reasons, some for environmental reasons.
I would say completely for ethical reasons, because I really feel like all life is equal, and I just put myself in the shoes of, that being, and I know that they have the ability to feel pain, and I just, it's strictly for ethical reasons.
Right. So it sounds like as a kid you were really, really conscious of that. I know as a 9-year-old you probably weren't reading stuff about, animal rights and, how animals are treated on factory farms. But did you read that as you got older? As you became older?
I have read things here and there. When I was around 16, or I discovered PETA, and I knew those videos were out there, but to me, and just me knowing how animals were being treated as products, it was none of it was a surprise to me. None of it was shocking to me.
Right.
It just confirmed what I already, the conclusion I had already come to when I decided to stop eating meat.
So it didn't change your mind. It just solidified your beliefs. It was just a confirmation.
Yes.
Right. So what do you have any feelings about, because I know PETA has been seen as controversial, not just only by omnivores, but also by some vegans and vegetarians, just because some of the imagery they use.
Yes.
Yeah, but because they use a lot of, in my opinion, sexualized imagery.
Yeah, they do.
Push veganism. So do you have any thoughts on that or any feelings on that?
That right there, I don't feel that I'm really well versed or even educated on the, effects of these things. And I do see it, and I just I don't feel one way or another about it. I just kind of accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
I know that it's marketing and they're just trying to spread the word, and I try to see things from two sides, and I could see it from their side that they're just trying to gain more support, but I really don't have an opinion about that or PETA at all. I try to take little tidbits here and there if I find something interesting on PETA or it comes across, and then I think that's good, or something I might see on PETA, I'll say, what? But it's like that, I think, with every place.
Right, that's true.
I don't think there's any one place that I 100% agree with everything that they say or do.
Yeah, it's good to look critically at everything. Well,
right.
As much as you can, yeah. All right, so I think that's it from now. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. All right, so I have one more other question.
Sure.
So it's Cali Vegans of Color. Is that the only vegan group you attend, or are there other vegan groups that you attend?
No, not really. I know that I really don't know. I know that I have gone to meetups, other vegan meetups before. I really feel like more comfortable with the Cali Vegans of Color, and I think it's for the same reasons that the Cali Vegans of Color group was made, because us being vegans of color really didn't feel comfortable in other vegan groups. So I might go one time and I really don't feel comfortable or like it's for me, so I just never went back. So the Cali Vegans of Color is the only one that I've really been actively returning to.
On a regular basis. So what was uncomfortable about the other groups?
For me, I felt like I couldn't relate to any of the other vegans. And to be honest, I still feel like I don't 100% relate to even the people in the Cali Vegans of Color, but I feel like they're more relatable to me than the other groups that I've been a part of. It's funny, when you were at the last meetup, you said vegans don't have kids. That's one thing I feel like I none of the groups I've gone to ever has anyone brought their child except me.
Except you. But it is funny because actually, when I met you, I realized all the people I talked to, no one is a parent, and I realized that when I met you, I'm like, that's interesting. Why aren't vegans having babies? And I was like wondering, is it like, because vegans seem to be so knowledgeable about environmentalism, and I was wondering, is it a concern about overpopulation? They don't want to overpopulate the earth, so they're like making these conscious decisions not to have children. But I mean, it's really interesting. I think I haven't gotten the answer yet, but.
Yeah, that is interesting. You know what? I know somebody posted a question in the group asking, has anyone had trouble finding a partner, mating, or not mating? That sounds weird. Dating. That's what I meant. Seeing other vegans or vegetarians. And I, for one, have never dated anybody who didn't eat meat in my life, and I don't even think anyone who was vegan or vegetarian ever, expressed interest in me, and I seem to be the only one that that agreed with her, had this problem in the whole group, because everyone was saying, you should go here, you should do this, but I really think that if that might be a part of it, Are there?
Yeah.
Have you the other vegans that you have met? Have they been like married couples, or is everyone?
No. Well, the one woman I've done a former interview. She's an actress, and she's 54, and she's been married for 20-something years, and her husband isn't vegan, and she's been vegan for 25 years. But, because she does the majority of cooking, he does eat vegan, but it's like she doesn't cook meat. But Liz, like, she won't date anyone who's not a vegan. So
yeah, I would have been single.
And she's adamant about that. So I met people on both sides of it.
Yeah, I really admire that, and that's another thing as far as being a part of this group, that me myself, like, I felt like I'm the lone vegan in this whole world, like the way I've been living my life and the communities that I live in. But going to these meetups, just makes me feel like there's more of us out there. I don't go to the beach cities to see any people, see any vegans. I could be inland in the poorer neighborhoods, and people that are from, regular cities that are vegan.
Well, that's what I want this film to do. And I was at the California African American Museum on Friday. There was a book signing by Ta-Nehisi Coates. He wrote, I forget the name of his latest book, but Toni Morrison endorsed it, which was big. Okay. But I was sitting next to this brother who's getting his PhD, not at USC, but I think Cal State Northridge, and ethnic studies. So, he was telling me about his project. I was telling him about this film, and and one of the people in the group pointed me to this survey from the Vegetarian Resource Network that was conducted in 2012. And the survey, it talked about who is vegetarian, who is vegan, by race, by population, by gender, everything. And African Americans are essentially, percentage-wise, there are more of us who are vegan than vegetarian. And compared to any other race, especially whites, like double, like whites are 3% of them are identify as vegetarian or vegan, and it's 6% for African Americans. So I was talking to this brother about the invisibility, and he brought up something that I kind of want to bring into the film because, of whiteness, because you mentioned that your brother or people were telling you were trying to be white by being vegetarian or vegan, and how whiteness is not only equated with norm and beauty, but also health. And since vegetarianism and veganism is associated with health, that's automatically associated with whiteness.
Yes.
And but statistically, that's not true, because there are more of us who are vegan and vegetarian. So, that's why this is coming, even though I'm not vegan. I actually am going to go vegan for the course of the film, and I may actually stick with it.
Okay.
But yeah, as of today. So, as of today. But bring visibility, because there are African Americans and vegans who are living this life. You know,
Yeah.
take that and remove that cloak of invisibility from this. So
Yeah, that would be great.
mm-hmm.
That would be
and
great.
maybe we can help you meet some vegan parents, some black vegan parents.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Because you need some support in that area. You know, because it's good in that to have that, I would think.
Right.
You know. All right. Well, okay. So I think that's it for tonight. Unless you wanted to add anything else, because we're like at 7:40 now. But at some point, I would love to sit down with you and do a face-to-face interview.
Okay.
You know,
that'll be fine.
If that works. Yeah. Because I want to go back and listen to this. I'm sure I'll have more questions. But I really appreciate this.
Okay, no problem at all.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And tell your cute little daughter. What's your daughter's name again, by the way?
Nyla.
Nyla. She's too cute. Oh, my God.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So this is just kind of a preliminary interview, just so I can kind of get to know you. It shouldn't take more than a half hour because I know you got to get on with your day. So I'm just going to basically ask you some general questions about your veganism and the stuff I eat, and just just trying to get some general information about African American vegans. And then at some point, I definitely want to come film you and do a formal interview with you. And also your husband, if he's open to that. I saw the picture of you two on Facebook. Like you were kind of peaceful. So
we were peaceful on that day.
On that day, okay. All right. So, can I ask how old you are?
I'll be 65 in December. December 7th.
Great. All right, December 7th. And how long have you been vegan?
25 years.
25 years. And were you vegetarian before you became vegan, or did you just go from eating everything?
I was still doing fish and chicken prior to that, yeah. I never ate a lot of meat because I had gaps in my teeth, and it always lodged in my teeth and got on my nerves. So I always just ate small portions of meat.
So are you from LA originally?
I am originally from Los Angeles, born and raised, Queen of Angels Hospital. And,
okay.
Yep.
All right. So what kind of food did you grow up eating?
Typical food, like most of us, black folks. Of course, my mom, she cooked for private families, so sometimes we had things other than what my friends would have, like she would bring squab home, and I knew some kids never ate broccoli when they were kids. We always had broccoli and salads, and because she kind of a lot of times fed us like she was feeding them, we would often have filet mignon steaks and that sort of thing. But for the most part, I had the salmon patties. I had the same breakfasts that everybody else did with the grits and the bacon and sausage. And I had greens and chitlins and hog maws and pork chops and chicken livers and liver. Same type of American diet. Lots of sugar. My mother was a sugar fanatic, so she got us very, very addicted to that. Our Kool-Aid was almost like a syrup. It had so much sugar in it. And she put sugar in everything. And her excuse for that was, well, in the South, she was from North Carolina. She said, where I came from, vegetables coming right out of the garden always have a sweetness to them. I can't buy them here like that, so I sprinkle sugar in them so you guys can taste that. So that's where that came from.
That's interesting. I'm from Georgia, so I grew up on all that stuff too. You know, the whole soul food diet. You know,
right.
So, but you're saying she exposed you to a lot of different things too.
Well, we did have a lot of different stuff just because of her job. You know,
work, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Right. So, how long have you owned Stuff I Eat? You and your husband.
Let's see. The business opened in 2008.
Okay.
July 2008. We had a soft opening, and we had our big opening in, I think it was August or September of 2008.
And you guys have always been in the same location?
But let me tell you, we actually got the place 4 years prior.
Oh,
so
okay.
2004, but we got the place, but we didn't have any money, so we needed to build. Yeah, we needed to build it out. So we had built ourselves prior to acquiring this building. We built ourselves a souped-up hot dog cart. So it was a 15-foot hot dog cart, and every Sunday we'd go over to Agape Spiritual Center, and we'd park our hot dog cart on the lot, and we would serve up our wild rice tacos and our burritos and our enchilada pie and our smoothies. And after so many years, we became very popular, and we'd wind up with block-long lines after service.
Wow.
And, so we knew that we had a good product. We knew that people liked the product. And prior to going on a vacation to Jamaica, we found ourselves in Inglewood, walking down Market Street, and the doors to this place were open. We came in. It was a previous restaurant, and he had a built-in steam table that was, the tile was the same color as our business cards. And I'm like, oh, that's an omen. Anyway, so we left our business card, and the guy said, no, I don't want a restaurant here. I think I'm going to turn this into a Nike Kids store, because the store, the building right next to the restaurant was a Nike shoe store. And so when we got back from Jamaica, about 10 days later, he had left us 5 or 6 messages, and he gave us the place for first, last month's rent and a tiny security deposit. So that was feasible for us, but actually building it out, making it our restaurant, it took us 4 years.
That took a lot of time.
Well, it took time because we didn't have a lot of money to hire a company to come in and just do it right quick. We were we hired my nephew, who wound up going to jail after putting in a bunch of soffits. We had to tear out all the shit he built. We had to tear it out because he was used to building studio sets and stapling stuff. So he's stapling. And then we got another guy that he would be in here. It would be months sometimes before he would come back to work. So we were just grabbing people that could help us out any way that we could. And after 4 years, we just opened the doors.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to become a vegan? Because you say you've been vegan for 25 years. What made you make that move?
Well, when I met my husband 25 years ago, I had a lot of issues. My skin was a mess. I still suffered with asthma sometimes, eczema, lots of bloating. I had I was so typical in terms of using the bathroom. I was always bloated and stopped up. And I was discussing some of these issues with him, and he shared a book with me, his hardcover autographed copy of Fit for Life by Harvey and Marilyn Diamond. And after I got that book, I read it and changed.
So you all were dating at the time, or you had already gotten married?
We were dating at the time. I met him in 1990, and we actually got married 2 years later, 1992.
Okay.
But I transitioned in 90.
So he was a vegan. He's
No,
been
he
a
was
vegan
not.
longer than you. Oh, okay.
No,
So
he
you
was
all
not.
kind of did this together.
We kind of did it together. Once he started sharing information, he was more informed than myself. Once he started sharing the information with me, I was just changing. Boom, boom, boom. Give me some information. I'm changing up. And he said, well, okay, I don't want her to outdo me. So he made the transition as well. So I'd say in 92 we were both completely vegan.
Okay, good. And so the transition for you was good. Did you experience any cravings at all, or was
You know, I can remember one time, I always loved chicken. I can remember one time pulling into Popeyes and pulling into the drive-thru saying, you don't eat this anymore. And I was like, oh, snap. So I had to get out of the line because I had forgotten just like that. It was smelling. And, you know, that spray, that smell had me taken. Anyway, that was about the only time. Other than that, I didn't have too many problems with the change, with the transition. And I was intrigued because he cooked my first vegan meal for me, and he made string beans and brown rice, and I had a salad. He made tofu, and I just thought, this is really very good. And I was intrigued to see if I could actually prepare food without using animal byproducts or animal products and make it taste like, you know, regular food. And so that got me spending more time in the kitchen because I was never a cook. He was, I wasn't.
Wow, that's interesting. So you went from never being a cook to being a chef.
Yeah. Well, they call it chef. I still call myself a cook, but, you know, they always labeling stuff. I mean, you know, I never went to culinary arts school or anything like that, but we had a good product, and I learned. I just stayed in the kitchen, and here we are. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think even though, like, you never went to culinary school, the way you present your food is beautiful. And, you know, they always say you eat with your eyes first.
Exactly. And let me tell you, I did floral arrangements. I did balloons. I had a company where we would decorate for weddings and birthday parties, my girlfriend and I. So some of that came from that background. I was a hairstylist. I've done some of everything, girl. Everything in these 65 years. But yeah, and so I always wanted the plates to look really pretty because I eat with my eyes, and my husband says I still use too much product, and I probably do. And you know, putting a salad on everybody's plate, to me it's like people don't understand the necessity of eating life. And most times people just have a plate full of dead food, and it's like, but where do you get the nutrients from if all you're eating is death? Everything is cooked. Nothing green, nothing alive on the plate. No color on the plate, just dead. And I didn't want my plates looking like that. So I decided I'm gonna offer a salad with every entree. It will just build it into the price. People need to eat salad. So I'm acting like grandma, eat your salad.
So you're mostly raw, right?
I'm pretty much 95% raw. I can't eat a lot of cooked. It's once you go on a whole juicing thing and you juice a lot, to go back to eating a lot of heavy cooked food, it just does not work for my gut. Like that soul food platter, I don't even know how people. I call it the stuff I eat. I don't know how people sit and eat that whole soul food platter. It's way too much food. It is too much food. So we're contemplating making some changes to that item and, you know, just have 5 items, and you'll be able to pick and choose the 5 items that you want on the soul food plate instead of just giving you all of that. It just doesn't make sense.
No, but I like it because that's good. Because I've been to a restaurant a few times, and I've always ordered that except for once because for me, you know, being from the South, it's the only place in town where you can get a really good vegan.
A clean one. That's not all greasy.
I know, but what I don't eat, I just take home with me. So it's like my snack or my lunch the next day. So
I got you.
Yeah, maybe don't change it.
Okay. Well, the people that love it, love it.
Okay.
You know?
Yes. So, how long, when did you make the transition to being more raw?
That's been in the last few years. Once I started learning how to prepare raw food, Chef India, I'd say about 4 years ago. Chef India Camille, she lives in Belize now. She was working here with me at Step I Eat, and we decided to offer raw food every day. And she was really into the raw food. And so as I began to learn dishes from her and juicing more, once I'd come off the juice, I didn't want a lot of heavy cooked food. So I would eat. So I'd say about 4 years ago, that's what did it, us packaging up more raw food here. Then she moved to Belize, and it kind of fell off. I usually try to keep raw options here, at least tacos, burritos, and you can always get a salad.
Right.
But I don't make as many raw items for customers as I used to. I just don't have the need for it. I mean, people are not asking for it, you know, like that.
Right.
I'm just now getting people to not walk out the door when they don't see fish and chicken on the menu.
That happens? People have done that?
Oh, yeah, they walk in, don't see fish and chicken on the menu, and turn around and walk out, and I run after them, be outside going, hey, what you leaving for? You didn't see no fish and chicken? Well, come back in here and get a taco on me. And they come back, get a free taco, and usually wind up eating. They'll wind up. If I'm here, I'm not going to let you just leave like that.
Right.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. At least try it. I'm in your community. Try it. At least try it. You're adults. Grown-ups, I don't know, so many grown-ups act like kids when it comes to their palate and food. It's amazing.
Right.
You know, I don't like beef. What you mean? I have grown men customers. I don't like beef. You're grown. What? Beets are good for you. What do you mean you don't like them? I don't like hearing adults sound like children when it comes to nourishing themselves. It's silly to me.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's interesting how I think that the palate gets so hardwired that some people just aren't willing to.
No, baby, let me tell you, they will allow their palate to determine what their quality of life is going to be. Period. The palate driven.
I know. Wow,
yeah.
This is good. So, so you mentioned that you had a daughter who went to USC too. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Her name is Latrice Hawkins. She's working in Vegas now at Zappos.
Okay.
And
all right. Good.
Kicking butt right now at Zappos because you know the one thing about USC, if you pay attention, because she was sharp. She made the dean's list a few semesters in a row, and she was sharp, so she picked up some good stuff. So when she went to work at Zappos, she just started implementing all kind of ideas that were off the chain. So she's got a lot going on there right now. And she just started the job. But, yeah, USC is cool with me.
Okay, good. Yay.
Yeah.
Is she vegan too?
Yes.
So basically
just became. She's been struggling.
She's
been struggling with her weight. Just became. She's a believer now. She's been struggling with her weight and going and really transitioning right around the time her I transitioned. And I have 5 stepkids too. I've got kids in Ohio. Everybody's grown though, but she's my only biological daughter. Okay. All right. All right. So I wanted to ask you too because the location of your restaurant is Inglewood. Right.
I want to just get some insight on like why that particular community. And because the story walking down the street and the man just pretty much gave us the shop. Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw the BuzzFeed video, did you?
No, not yet.
You never saw that? Okay. So anyway, check it out. It's a vegan soul food adventure. There's somebody asked me something about us putting the restaurant here, and I answered just like this. I live down the street. So,
right.
So you'll hear that on that. You're done, baby?
Right. Okay.
Hold on one
Okay.
second, sweetheart.
Okay.
Leave them right here, and I'll take care of them.
Yeah.
Go home. Thank you. Okay. Love you. Okay, see you tomorrow. All right, baby. All right. Bye-bye. Have a good day. All right. Okay, go ahead, honey.
Because I asked that because in one of my classes, one person, he's not doing a film, but he's doing some case study research at this Ethiopian vegan restaurant near downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And the owners have called in the interviews with the owners. They basically heard a lot of comments like, "Why don't you put this in Beverly Hills? It's such like a predominantly white neighborhood."
Yeah,
and,
they ask me that all the time.
Yeah, and they're like, "No, if you want to eat our food, you need to come down here." You know.
Yeah.
Plus,
They ask us that all the time. You would kill in Santa Monica. You would kill over here. You would kill over there. And I'm thinking, you know what? I live close by. And before we opened this restaurant, whenever Ron and I ever decided to go out to eat, we always had to drive distances. And we always had to take that money to another community. And so once we found this one, and we lived literally down the street, not in Inglewood, but in South Central, my husband was like, this is the perfect location. I do not want to commute to work ever, because my daughter was like, oh, Mom, there's a building available in Pasadena. And we were like, no. And really, we were needed right here. We really were. I'm not saying that we're not needed in other areas. We have a great product. But in terms of empathy and caring and love for community and love for self, we're in the right place. People here can't always go across town to get organic foods. Vons doesn't always have what you want in terms of organic. Not always, you know, and they're charging you up like Whole Foods. So to have something clean and conscientious in the community is a big plus. And my husband is so ethical that I can remember one time I wanted him to do, I didn't have enough oats to make my oatmeal cookies. And I said, sweetheart, just go buy me some nuts. He said, well, where can I get them organic? I said, Ron, it's one time. Can you just give me some oats? He said, I'm not buying inorganic oats. We tell people our cookies are made with organic oats. Then he drove all the way over to what was close to Griffith Park, and we lived in South Central on 67th and Cimarron. And he drove all the way over to Nature Mart, and it was Nature Mart at the time, and got me some bulk rolled oats. He just wouldn't do it. That's just not his style. And I learned from him, because he said, you know, I wouldn't want somebody telling me they're serving me one thing and they're giving me something else. I can't live with that. So that became our motto. What I tell you, I give you is what I give you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. And I was talking to a woman who I'm going to be interviewing for the film as well, and she was telling me about this survey through Vegetarian Resource Center, and that statistically there are more African Americans who are vegan and vegetarian than white folks. Like
really?
Yeah.
Well, they don't want you to know that. They certainly don't want you to believe that. They certainly do not. But I know that we're changing fast, because we haven't been feeling good.
Right.
We haven't been feeling good. And what they've been feeding us is making us sick on purpose. There's a lot of things that are done by design. And we need to take control of ourselves and our bodies, you know. So I believe that. Yeah, because it's true, because, you know, I recently saw the new Black Panther film, and, you know, they had that famous Edgar where he's talking about the school lunch program. No, their breakfast program was the most dangerous program in America. You know, I believe that.
The Edgar Hoover back in the day. And you at first thought, you think, well, that just sounds ridiculous, but no, it's not, because if you feed children, you know, what they need to eat, and give them a good breakfast, then they're able to function more. And that's not what society wants some of
They
us,
don't want our babies to function. They don't want us to function. They that's not what they want. So, taking control is what we need to do from this point on, and I don't think we've done it enough. But I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah. Okay, so just one more question. So is stuff I eat, is it full time for you and your husband now at this point?
Right at the moment, it hadn't been, but we're a little short-staffed at the moment. We're in the middle of hiring right now. So how if you're a business owner, if you're short, you got to pull up your sleeves and get in there and work. So I've worked. You have to. I've worked a little harder than I really want to work over the last few months, but we're starting to hire again, and that will change. Okay. Now, when you hire people, are they required to be vegan, or if not, do they become vegan after? You know what we like? We kind of like a work in progress, not to be prejudiced and not to turn anybody away. But we do desire somebody that has knowledge or is even interested in eating cleaner, because this change is not just about me. It's all I'm just a tiny part of the whole, and it's about every other earthling that has a right to live on this planet as I do. So I kind of like ethical people that at least think about it. Right. And but still, like I said, not really being prejudiced, but just be a work in progress and be open. At least that. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay, good. All right. And are you doing a vegan Thanksgiving or Christmas? Always, every year. So I'm going to have a raw and a cook. Okay, cool. All right, good. All right. Okay, well, I think that's it for now because we're at the 10:30 mark, and I don't want to hold you up anymore. All right, baby. The next few weeks, I will give you a call because I do want to come sit down, something more formal as well. But this kind of is great. It helps give me some more questions for you. And check out the Vegan Soul Food Adventure, BuzzFeed. It's on YouTube. I have it up here right now. All right, baby. Yeah. All right, thank you. Have a great day. Okay, thank you, Babette. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
should take more than like a half an hour or so. But basically, this interview is just for me to kind of get to know you, like where you are in your vegan journey, and anything else that may be, relevant to what I'm trying to do with the film.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if I got a chance to talk to you because you were at the other end of the table, but I'm doing a film on African American vegans. It's called Vegan Noir, and it's for my thesis project. I'm working on a master's in visual anthropology at USC. And for the thesis, we actually have to create a 20 to 30-minute ethnographic documentary. So this film, I hope, is going to help bring more visibility to the African-American vegan/vegetarian community and talk about issues that are particular to African-American vegans. So, and it's going to premiere next September, I believe that's second Sunday. So, so that's where I'm at right now. I'm not a vegan, but I am vegan friendly. So maybe this film at some point will help me become vegan, help me make that step. All right. So how old are you?
I'm 40 years old.
40, okay. And what do you do for a living?
Right now, I'm a bus operator for Culver City Bus.
Okay, all right. And how long have you been a vegan?
Not very long. I really just started in June.
Okay.
Basically,
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the reason why was because of a friend. I had never really considered it, but my friend is vegan, and technically I'm not a vegan. I'm more vegetarian because I still eat dairy. So I'm kind of easing into it. But for the most part, I never really tried to actually be meatless in my meals, and so I figured I'd give it a shot based on my friend being vegan.
All right. And how long has your friend been a vegan?
I'm not sure. I guess I'd have to ask her to find out.
Okay. So what would happen? Like you all would go out to dinner or spend time together, and he or she?
She.
And she would just talk about her veganism. Was she trying to encourage you to become vegan, or you were just kind of influenced by watching what she did?
It was more of an influence in getting to know her from the standpoint of that's just kind of how she is. And so we shared meals, and she just wanted to kind of show me, not without obviously any pressure, but just that vegan food can be delicious, but you have to kind of look for it. There's some places that are kind of bland, but she seems to know of places that actually have some flavor. So I just wanted to give it a shot because personally I didn't think I could do it. I figured I'd basically crave the meat, and then at some point, I would cave and then just go back to my normal diet. But I haven't craved it, so I'm still trying to see how long it's going to take before I actually have that urge. But thus far, I haven't had an urge to eat meat.
Mm-hmm. And it's been 5 months now, you said?
Yeah, 19, August, September, October. Yeah, so about 5 months, or maybe a little bit more.
Yeah. And so basically you're kind of going cold turkey. You weren't vegetarian before. You're just going from omnivore to vegan, essentially.
Correct. And again, not completely vegan, vegetarian, just because I do eat dairy.
You do eat dairy. So what kind of dairy do you eat? Do you eat eggs or just cheese and milk?
I mean, I try to avoid eggs when I can, but eggs are in pretty much a lot of stuff as far as breads and random stuff that when I look at the ingredients, it's like, oh, eggs are in that. So I'm not against eggs, but obviously if there's a breakfast situation, I won't eat like eggs, scrambled eggs per se, or like something that's directly, cooked where eggs are just like the item. But no, I still eat eggs and cheese and anything with milk in it. For the most part, because I guess I really, really like dairy still. So at some point maybe I'll consider it, but thus far I still eat a lot of cheese.
Okay, all right. And so is your friend who's vegan, is she African American?
Yes, she is. She was there at the restaurant that night.
Oh, who is she?
That's why I eat Sade.
Sade. Okay, all right. So before her, did you know any other African American vegans, or she's the first one you've known?
A friend of mine was vegan for a while, but she's not anymore. But I try like high school friend that was more my wife's friend, but like we've been longtime friends too. She was vegan for a long time until recently, when she just started eating meat. So it's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like she started vegan, I stopped.
That is funny. Yeah, that is. So you've always been aware, at least most of your adult life, of veganism. You've had people in and out of your life who did do it.
Yeah, definitely an awareness. Not completely aware of some of the culture, because like I just thought it was more about just not eating meat, and for some folks it's really about like their lifestyle. So that I'm kind of getting educated on.
Mhm. And do you attend any other vegan groups besides Calling Vegans of Color?
There's a few meetups that I've checked out. Again, through my friend, because she knows some spots. So I mean, Cali Vegans of Color intrigued me just because it was, basically black folks involved. But I've been to some meetups with Sade, where it was just like a vegan potluck, and I recently joined the Long Beach meetup, vegan meetup group, just to see what they're about.
And are those like mostly potlucks, or do people have conversations about how to live the vegan lifestyle? Like, what happens in those groups?
I think like the first meetup that I went to was specifically kind of like about recipes, and they would show you a certain recipe and how to cook it. So it was kind of like those Food Network shows that show you what to do, except it was kind of live and in person, where someone was like, here's my presentation and this is what you need to do, and then they would present the food. But I haven't been to any other meetups other than, I can't remember the name of this one particular one, but I can't remember the name of the group, but they met at like a Seventh-day Adventist church. And
okay, yeah, because Seventh-day Adventists, they're vegetarian or vegan, right?
Primarily. I think that they are specific about their diet. So I don't know that everybody's vegan, but they're pretty strict about some of the stuff that they eat. So I think it's easier to be vegan than it is to like, well, you can't have shellfish, you can't have certain like pork or beef because or I think there's something in the Bible regarding like split hoof or something like that. And, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of complex.
All right. So have you noticed any difference in your body or the way you feel since you've become a vegan?
Well, I think so. I'd like to think that it was a part of my weight loss, but not completely. Like, I just tried to change my diet up mostly because of a recommendation from another friend who was just like, if you can get your metabolism going, then you can lose weight easier, because I would just eat big meals. So, like, I wouldn't eat breakfast, but I'd eat a huge lunch and a huge dinner, and it would just sit. So with vegan food, it's usually a lot lighter, and, I still eat junk food, but for the most part, most of the stuff that I eat is a little healthier in comparison to the stuff that I ate before, which is like soul food and like a lot of fried foods and stuff. So, yeah, I've noticed that I do feel different. I feel lighter. I feel I don't know if it's more energetic, but I just feel like there is a difference.
And are you? You mentioned the health a lot. Do you work out on a regular basis? Do you exercise?
I have, as of recently, like this year. So for the most part, it's like I didn't before. I'm very sedentary at my job as a bus operator, so I think that was a part of the weight gain. And then, strangely enough, my wife, she actually started exercising, so that kind of motivated me, because it was like, oh, well, if she's losing weight, then, I can't be, less sexy than her, so let me try to get my sexy on.
All right, good. So is your wife vegan or vegetarian?
She is not, but she's vegan friendly from the standpoint that she she eats healthy, so she'll eat a vegan meal, but she still eats meat.
Okay. So do you think that you might influence her to become vegan? Like, is she seeing how she's changing and, maybe trying to go that route a little bit more?
Like, she's open to it. I don't know that she would do it just for me. She would do it for herself, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Because it's a healthier option. But I don't know, there's some foods that she still loves. So, like, I know she likes eating healthy. So, I mean, she would include it as far as, like, what we eat in our meals and whatnot. But I don't know that I would be able to have that kind of influence. But, like, okay, well, I'm vegan now, so you need to be vegan. So, nah, I don't have that influence over her to a point where it's just like, you do what I say. It's just like, well.
Oh, no, yeah.
I'll eat vegan with you, but I still eat if I choose to.
Right. All right. So what about online resources? Like as you're getting into veganism, are there certain websites that you look at, or I noticed there are quite a few YouTube videos featuring African American vegans. Do you use online resources to help with your veganism, like getting recipes or anything like that?
Well, thus far, my main resource has been my friend Falasha, because she obviously posts a lot of links on Facebook. So most of the stuff that she recommends, I check out. She knows a lot of different cookbooks that she's been through. In fact, she just started this cooking club on Facebook for just selected friends. And so, I guess once a month or whenever we can get together. The idea is to pick a recipe out of one specific cookbook and, bring it together in a potluck. But yeah, she's been my main resource, and she's pointed out a few things that I can check out. But outside of that, it's just been kind of random discoveries based on some Facebook stuff and Twitter stuff since I've joined certain online groups. So I have discovered restaurants, like the stuff I eat, I discovered randomly. Because, for something vegan in the neighborhood, and it popped up on Yelp. And then, when I joined the Cali Vegans of Color group, other people have recommendations based on, where they had been. There's a Cuban vegan place, about a mile and a half from my house, and I didn't know about it. But because somebody posted it, it was well, let me go check this out. I didn't even know this was there. So, yeah, it's just random way to kind of find out about information.
What's the name of that place, the Cuban vegan place?
I don't know the title, but I know where it's at. It's off of Florence in Manchester, basically.
Okay, I'll just Google. I'll just yell Cuban vegan. I'm sure it'll pop up. I didn't even know. That's great. I didn't even know that because I love Cuban food.
Yeah,
I used to live in Florida for a number of years, so. Okay, cool.
They're pretty good, because I didn't think that it would live up to I usually go to Versailles, or used to. Cuban, and they have flavor, so I was like, yeah, this is nice. The only issue that I have with vegan food, though, is it tends to be pretty pricey. So, if I'm going to pay a good amount, then I hope that it's good. And they were really good. So I was really, really satisfied.
Good. Yeah, I was watching some videos today on YouTube, and a guy was talking about that, how, and I haven't experienced this in the African American community. He was talking about how there's some folks who might, who are somewhat elitist in a way. And basically price points, basically, black vegans, and again, I haven't counted this, but I guess he has, black vegans shouldn't criticize somebody for paying $5 at Mr. Wong's Chinese restaurant for a full plate of food when a little lettuce wrap costs $12 at a vegan restaurant. So, yeah, he was talking about, the issue of price. So, and that's kind of one of the things I want to address in the film, because there is, I think, a perception, I think sometimes maybe pretty real, depending on what neighborhood you live in, that being a vegan is expensive. Do you think that's the case? Has that been your experience?
To a certain degree, yes, mostly because, if you're just trying to do it out of convenience, especially if you eat out, it's not cheap. But there's ways to do it cheap, clearly. But I think that eating healthy is not. If you shop around and obviously do your due diligence, then it's not that expensive. But I understand, it's not as cheap as fast food. So yeah, no, that comparison as far as convenience, I do see that. I understand where that comes from. But it's possible to actually still be a vegan and do it within a reasonable budget, I think. But I've only been doing it in June, so I'm not the expert on it just yet. But in my
but actually this is good because since you're in your I would say transitional period. So I think you would be the one to ask because you know the difference based on what your grocery bill is, versus somebody who's been a vegan for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's part of my bill. The grocery bills are still, relatively the same. It's not like all of a sudden I'm just nothing but health food in my refrigerator. We still buy a good amount of, fruits and vegetables, but we still buy the same junk food, too, on occasion. So it hasn't changed budget-wise.
Yeah. So do you find that you're reading labels a lot more now?
Yeah, but I was like that before. Like before.
Okay, so there's no change for
like,
you there.
Yeah, I would kind of read to see what the ingredients are, and just out of curiosity, to find out what the calorie count was, and so I'd like to think that I was relatively informed about what I was eating.
Mm-hmm. And were you raised here in California, or are you from someplace else?
Yeah, I mean, California's been my home for a very long time, but I was born in Wheeling, West Virginia. But like, my dad migrated out this way when I was like 3 or 4 years old. So
okay, so you're Californian, yeah.
Yeah.
So what is what are your parents or that part of your family still? What do they think about you being a vegan now? Have you talked to them about it or mentioned it?
Yeah, my folks think it's great because they saw the weight loss and they're like, well, I think that's part of it. And so like, my mom has basically been talking about it with other relatives back east, and since I've lost weight, different folks are considering it just based on that. But again, it hasn't all been just me changing my diet to veganism or vegetarian. It has a lot to do with just the portions that I eat. So, I'm going to give me a little credit for, the diet, but most it's like portions and stuff like that.
Yeah, portions and making sure you're eating your 3 meals so your body doesn't hold on to what it doesn't need to hold on to.
Yeah, so like that's been the big thing. Like a lot of small meals during the day, and then like one solid meal before the end of the day.
Yeah. So describe me like what your breakfast and your lunch and your dinner are.
For the most part, like I'll take fruit. Like my normal routine is like about 4 bananas and some trail mix from like Trader Joe's. They have like a simple cranberry, almond, and cashew mix that I like to mix up. And they have another trail mix that's just like raw nuts. And so I'll take, I don't know, a bag full of, like a Ziploc bag, like a sandwich bag full of that, and 4 bananas and some water. And like every 2 hours I would like snack on a banana and some trail mix. And then when I get home, I try to eat something healthy for lunch if there's something to fix. But sometimes I'll just go and grab something from the store. And that's when the junk food cravings kick in, because I still like eat a lot of potato chips and sodas and stuff like that. So I'll eat something like that, like a snack, like chips and sodas, but like within decent portions. And then for dinner, depending on whether or not my wife and I cook, it's like sometimes we go out, sometimes we get like something Thai, or sometimes we'll grocery store wise fix something. So it varies, like, because we don't really have a set like dinner plan just yet. So it's hard to describe. Cause, like, we're inconsistent with our meals. So like sometimes we eat out, sometimes we don't.
Right. So being a bus driver, is your schedule pretty regular, or does it change, like your work schedule?
My work schedule is pretty much the same, 4 days a week. It only changes like one day, and even then, it's just like a matter of coming in a little bit earlier. So like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I work from 4:29 to like 1:23.
Okay.
Like
in the morning or in the
morning? In the morning.
Morning. Oh wow. Okay.
And on Wednesdays, it's a little bit a shorter day, but it's still in that same bracket as far as time. It's like 5:16 to 1 o'clock.
Okay. So is it easy? Like, I'm just thinking about lunch. Is it easy to get your lunch in when you're like on the bus? I mean, do bus drivers get lunch breaks? I guess that's what I'm asking.
No, we don't. Like based on our schedule, we just get like 15 to 20 minute breaks at the end of the line or at the end of the round trip. So it depends on the line you work. If traffic is a nightmare, then you have to do what you have to do. And a lot of times, at least since I've been working, sometimes I'll continue working without eating, so to speak, or taking a break just so I can get off on time. So that would be an issue as far as like diet. But sometimes, drivers still maintain, I'm going to take this break, I'll just be late. But I think a lot of folks do like I do and just keep on working through your shift.
Just keep going. Yeah. So that type of schedule, that does kind of messes with your with when you're supposed to eat too. So, and especially about starting so early in the morning as well, when you're actually supposed to be sleeping, at 4 something in the morning. So, yeah. So it makes sense that the metabolism would be a little off, because, yeah. How long have you been a bus driver?
17 years.
17 years. Okay. So can you retire at 20?
I can if I want to.
Okay. Well, that's nice. So you're on your downslope. That's good. Start your second career if you want. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So if someone who is a meat eater / omnivore came to you and said, "Hey, I'm interested in becoming a vegan," like, what would you tell them?
I would tell them it's great. Like, if you really want to give it a shot, you have to really consider, depending on who the person is. Like, if it's a black person, I would definitely be like, well, it's a tougher transition because, like, soul food, it's good food, it's tasty, but it's got a lot of, there are some options that are meatless, but not a whole lot of them, you know what I mean? So everything that is soul food has some kind of meat or dairy in it. Like, when I think about, like, it could be like barbecue something, and there are alternatives, clearly, if you really do your due diligence. But for the most part, like, when I think about my mom's cooking, because that's my favorite cooking, don't tell my wife that.
Yeah.
Everything has meat in it. And, be it for birthdays, holidays, like, if we're not, on the grill, there's, Thanksgiving's coming up, so, turkey, the dressing, it's got the turkey in it, the, gravy, greens, smoked either turkey necks or turkey legs, you name it. Potato salad, got a little bit of egg in there, usually. So, yeah, I would say that it might get tough because it limits what you might like, but it's not impossible. You just have to obviously find some alternatives. And, be open to new things, too, because that helps.
So do you think it's harder for black folks to be vegetarian, just as a veg or vegan as a whole?
I wouldn't say, well, I mean, that's, like, for me, it wasn't hard, but I can understand how it would be hard based on, like, your diet. So I'll say yes to that. I guess it just depends on the individual and what your willpower is like and, what you want to do. But for the most part, if your diet is like most black folks that I know's diet can be, then, yeah, it would be kind of tough if you really like soul food and you really like, the stuff that we traditionally eat.
Right. So are you, with the holidays coming up, are you planning, do you and your wife usually cook and have people over, or do you go to other people's houses?
No, traditionally, I usually go to my mom's because she does a lot of the cooking. We'll bring, like, a side dish or something like that if she asks. But for the most part, that's her way to show love, and she, does it up. So, what I can eat, I will eat. So I won't have any turkey, but I will, have some greens. Even though if it has meat in it, I'll just pick the meat out. So I know some people might be hardcore, and they're like, no, I don't want any meat juices and whatnot. But I'm like, I'm not that serious. I'll just pick it out.
Yeah, and it's your mom, and it's a holiday, and yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, good. All right. So you said your friend was kind of been your primary source on how to be a vegan. Like, what was some of the early things she told you as far as, like, how to eat, like how to get your protein? Because, a lot of people have this idea that you have to eat meat to get protein. So what were some of her suggestions that counteract that argument?
One of the things she talked about was just some of the alternatives to stuff that is high in protein. So, like, she talked about certain vegetables as well as like grains and whatnot. Like, she introduced me, which, like, the next time I go shopping, to this particular protein powder that is all like plant-based. And so, you can pick that up and, add it into a smoothie if you want to. So there's alternatives, like, other than just, like, animal meat, if you will. And even, like, for instance, since I'm not completely vegan and I eat dairy, there's a lot of proteins in dairy products. And I'm thinking, like, there's, like, obviously different beans and legumes that have a certain protein amount. It's not, I don't know what the comparison would be with or to meat, but, I mean, it's enough that you can obviously get your protein.
Right, right. Okay, and then I just have one other question because I want to stay true to my half-hour thing because I know you got stuff to do. But so have you noticed a difference between poly vegans of color and then groups that have more white vegans? Is there a difference in the dynamic at all?
Well, I can't say that personally because I haven't experienced it yet because the Cali Vegans itself is really the first group that I kind of joined. So
okay, so was this your first group, the first meeting with them?
Yeah, like that was the first.
Okay, the first meeting. Okay, all right.
Event. But I have heard that it can be tough. So that's the thing. Like a lot of the folks that were at that table, one of the women in particular who I sat in the class from was just like, this is rare, but this is what I've been looking for. I mean, she had been vegan, I think she said, for over 20 years, and so she was just like, it's just a lot of white folks, and it can be bland food, and sometimes, it's just tough, not to see another person of color, and so to have, nothing but people of color at the table where it's a decent-sized group amount, because I think she said, like, she tried to start one before, but, only like 2 or 3 people would show up, and eventually people just stopped altogether.
Yeah.
So, I think that there is a movement kind of growing where, folks are just looking to get healthier, and they're also looking to be a part of a group that is something that, you recognize culturally. So that's the reason why I joined. I was just like, oh, there's black folks that are vegans. Okay, let me check this out.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, actually, I was talking to, I don't know if you got a chance to meet her. She was sitting on the end with me. Her name is Philosophy, and she was telling. Oh, that's your friend. Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Yeah, we've been trying to coordinate her because her story is really interesting. But she told me about this survey. I can't remember. Vegetarian Resource Center did a survey in 2012, and which it was fascinating because statistically, more of us are vegetarian/vegan than white folks, like by double. Because vegetarians make up, I think, a total of like 7% of the population, and 3% of white folks are vegetarian/vegan, while 6% of black folks are vegetarian/vegan. So there are more of us, yet it's hard for us to find each other, like what the woman you sitting across from said, one that's been vegan for 20 years. So, yeah, it's really interesting. Okay, so did you have anything else you wanted to add at this point?
Not really. I mean, I just was trying to be open to questions. And again, I'm relatively new, so I'm just looking forward to, kind of discovering things on my own, looking to meet new people and go to new restaurants and stuff like that. So it's been a pleasurable experience thus far. So I'm looking forward to, continuing it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to put that Cuban place. I'm excited about the Cuban vegan place on my list. And actually, it's funny because I've had such a hard time trying to find the vegans who are new. So I was glad to find you because everyone I know has been like 7 years plus. Like, where are the newbies?
Right.
Where are the newbies? So this is good. So right now I'm just doing this is a pre-interview just so we can get to know each other. And then probably in January I'm going to probably start shooting again. So I may call you after the first of the year just to try to do a sit-down interview with you at some point because it's good to get somebody who's just starting out because I think that some people need to see that perspective as well. So cool.
No problem.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I'll send you that link to the Yelp page that I think I sent to somebody else, too.
Yeah, totally, yeah, because I may try to hit that up this week or maybe next week. All right, cool. All right, thank you. All right, talk to you later.
All right, Tony.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.